that love is uncontrollable force. It's a silent killer that shows up.
I love being black.
Okay.
You're familiar?
I feel like I've seen that name pop up somewhere. But yeah.
Toastmasters is a public speaking and leadership organization. So
Right.
it helps people to improve their public speaking so that they can do presentations.
Right.
And, you know, I joined a club in the city and met a gal. And at the time I was working like 2 part-time jobs,
Wow.
living paycheck to paycheck.
Right.
And I wanted to work in tech. I wanted that full-time,
Around what year
you know,
was this?
security of I actually wanted that 9 to 5.
Yeah,
you know,
yeah.
at that time in my life, I was like, you know, 20s. And so I was referred to somebody, and that really got my foot in the door because I didn't go to school. I started working when I was 15, saved up.
Yeah.
You know, really been on that hustle from an early age of like supporting myself. I moved out right when I was 18 and have been on my own and always been a hustler. So, and one of my first sales jobs was actually my senior year in high school, working for a timeshare resort in Napa.
Well, for real?
Yeah, selling timeshares. Yep, in Napa, 707, you know. And so that was like my first sales, you know, I feel like I got the gift to gab.
Yeah.
So God blessed me with that. And through
You
networking.
can sell salt to a slug. You can sell raid to a bug. You know what I mean?
I'm saying? Selling sand at the beach.
Yeah,
you know?
you feel me? Sell seashells to a whale.
You sell seashells at the seashore.
For real.
Oh man. But yeah, so background, you know, I feel like my career really started it started at Chicken Express. You know, shout out to Chicken Express in Vallejo, my first job.
Okay. Did you stay out here, but you was just in the 707?
I went to high school, like middle school and high school in Fairfield.
Okay.
Yeah. But you know, moved out right when I was 18 and pretty much been all over the Bay, but the city is where I have spent the most of my life.
City situation.
I was out there for you know, over a decade, and now I've been in Oakland for almost 5 years.
Okay.
So yeah, I feel like I'm aging myself, but it's cool.
Yeah.
You know, I got all this experience to share, so I'm excited to be here chatting with you and sharing some of this experience to like inspire others, because some of us don't come from traditional background, and I've always been. That's all, you know, I think for me early in my career, I saw big entrepreneurs like be it Oprah or, you know, Steve Jobs, people that didn't have college degree. And I thought if you work really hard, you'll be successful. I always had that mentality. And I've seen both sides of how not having that can block opportunities, which is why I think that, you know, it's not what you know, sometimes it's who you know. And so for me, that was
a little bit further, who likes you.
Who's saying your name when you're not in the room?
That part, you know what I mean? That's powerful.
Yeah. So that was really, I would say, what got my foot in the door working in tech. And I remember in that final round interview for that first tech company, meeting with the president, and he really pressed me, you know, as to why he should hire me over somebody that has a college degree. And I set him straight, and it just was real.
Like it, 'cause
that candor actually was what got my foot in the door, because he respected how authentic and real I was with the fact that I hadn't been able to go to college because I had to learn to support myself at a young age, and college wasn't really something that was like presented. And you know, I have all of this experience working in face-to-face sales, phone sales, you name it. And it was for a sales position. So I was like, do you want somebody who has experience and no college degree? Or do you want somebody who has a college degree and no experience? Because right now I have a lot of friends, and I had a lot of friends at the time who had the college degree and they couldn't get a job because they didn't have the experience. So which one do you want? And he really was taken aback as to the fact that, do I want to hire somebody who actually is even right now selling me on why I should hire her, and it's a sales role. And he called me like 10 minutes after that interview and was like, I've never done this. I feel like I'm taking a risk, but I feel like sometimes you got to open the door for people. And he gave me that opportunity. And once I had that first tech company on my resume, it was game over. So then That was 2011. So
that's when it was fresh.
Yeah, real fresh.
That's when it's fresh. 2000. Well, I wasn't even thinking about just my smartphone. You feel me?
Man, that's probably when actually, I think that is when I got my first smartphone, because I remember I had to go to a work conference in the East Coast in like Pennsylvania and rent a car and drive, and I was like, I'm gonna need a phone for the GPS. I don't know if MapQuest is gonna be able to help me. I'm gonna be all by myself in fucking Pennsylvania.
So here at the Say Your Peace podcast, we like to have high vibrational conversation and stimulate the consciousness. And we're talking about tech, and tech has a lot of consciousness. Before we go into the AI, which is like the ultimate consciousness now, right? Of some sort. It's living. That's what I mean.
Yes.
What did you see as like a person of color in tech? A woman. I don't know if you did the programming or what was the back end stuff. Did you see any kind of like weird stuff in terms of if it has any biases or anything based upon who works there, based upon who you are and stuff like that?
Yeah, I would say, my role, I worked in sales. I started out in sales, but I in that culture is very much open office, if you will. So whether you're in sales or HR or on the engineering or marketing or product team, it's from my experience was like really open, collaborative environment with weekly all hands meetings where everybody is aware of what's going on across the board. I would say the makeup of the team would probably not be a lot of people of color, or I feel like it'd be like me and maybe a couple others, so maybe like three out of 100.
And why do you think that is? I know you did your thing to get in, no college degree, but had a world of experience, sold yourself, be who you are, and a lot of times that work. But you probably was, like you just said, the small percentage of that. Why do you think it is? Are we not going into tech, or are we just not being desired in the tech field? What is that?
Well, that was in 2011. So, and I'm really, when I think of those numbers, that was really me being
the groundbreaker.
And I, bringing my funky, fresh Bay Area presence to this space, and I actually saw over time when diversity and inclusion became a thing with organizations, and then that actually, I would say the last 5 years I was in tech working for early stage startups. So I started in SaaS, which is software as a service, and I started my career in sales in tech, and then I transitioned in 2014 to recruiting, which recruiting in itself is also sales. Of its own. You're selling people on a job, you're selling hiring managers on the best candidate, you're selling the candidates on why they want to work at the company, and negotiating salary. So I actually really saw with a lot of early stage startups that work with investors where they want to see that diversity and inclusion to open the pool. I think in San Francisco and the Bay Area, especially because we saw gentrification and stuff, you have people that are vocalizing, hey, like, how do we like uplift, provide opportunity for our own local communities? I think why we see a low number of people of color represented in tech, and I would say across any organization, whether it's nonprofits or corporate or HVAC. Well, I would say we're low numbers in many arenas, but I would say that there's been a spike in that over the past probably like 7-8 years with diversity and inclusion efforts where companies had to have more people of color on their websites.
Had
You
to.
know,
Forced
y'all
didn't like that, huh?
And it was interesting because as a recruiter who was, I was all about that initiative.
Yeah.
You know, and I got to be the person that was introducing candidates, and for me that was actually a full circle moment in my career because I had the ball in my court to now open the door to help other people like me get their foot in the door that don't have college degrees. So I could go to the hiring manager and be like, I got this great candidate, I think they hit all this criteria, and they'd be like, well, they don't have a college degree.
Yeah.
And I would be able to advocate and say, you know, I don't have a college degree. Like, if we're talking about diversity and inclusion, that needs to include.
That's a part of diversity.
Yeah.
Because everybody doesn't have the college degree, but some people can just pick up on things and they can be taught, right? You might start them at a little bit less because they don't have a bachelor's or they don't have a master's and stuff like that, but they might have the experience. They might have the customer service. They might be able to have a morale of the office or something like that. So we don't even think about that. Sometimes we just think about, oh, are they the right gender? Or are they the right skin color? You know what I mean? We don't think about economic background and stuff like that, or, you know, the reasons why.
Yeah, exactly. And so I thought that was really interesting to witness the, you know, being pressed from executives and hiring managers for trying to find not only people that have the right experience, but bonus points if they are, you know, a person of color or have some other, you know, diverse part of themselves. And then, and also witnessing that for like updating the website and getting a photo. And let's try to make sure all our colored people are there that day so we can really show that we're one big, happy, diverse family.
Very performative in that sense, right?
Very, very, very performative. Because then I witnessed, and even for myself, the lack of support I got while working in those organizations, you know, and that,
speak on it.
Well, the last company that I really worked at full time before I transitioned to becoming a consultant, which is what I've been doing the past 5 years now, is, you know, I was working for an early stage startup. There was about 20 people when they hired me. They wanted to expand to, you know, over to 75 within that 6 months, and I was running everything from like office, the all hands. I was wearing 6 different hats, and I was doing 6 jobs, getting paid for one. And when I asked for support, like you know, a advisor or somebody that I could work in parallel with for some of those initiatives, I didn't get that. But then one day, all of a sudden, this white woman who worked on the team in business development, like no recruiting experience as to the job that I was doing, she was promoted to become my boss. So
we gotta stop. We gotta stop.
They hired her an advisor. They hired her somebody.
Everything that she was asking.
Yeah.
Well, shout out to her for stealing everything.
And next thing I know, I was gone. So but not until I got those 75 people, which I accomplished. Built the company, built the systems, built the processes, and then only to, you know, have that. Right. But you know, God's what did it say? The redirection. God's that rejection is. So I feel like, you know, here we are now, where to me it happened a few times throughout my career where I would be laid off, and it never ever had anything to do with performance. But I think there's probably at least 3 or 4 times in my time working in tech where I was essentially laid off by a white woman who felt probably threatened by me, but it was never anything having to do with performance or goals. There was never a performance plan. It was, you know, sometimes that light is a little too bright and just doesn't sit right in the right spaces. And I feel like that's, you know, God's way of just, you know, like, you're not meant for them. Some of us are not meant for the 9 to 5. We are, some of us have these hardships and obstacles and trials and tribulations and constant rejection because it's pushing us to like carve our own path because our purpose is bigger than that. And if we stay comfortable in that 9 to 5 where we got that cush salary.
Yeah.
I mean, you're essentially,
Yeah.
that's what they want. You know, even Google, you look at some of these tech companies, they actually have like living, they make it so that you live where you work.
It reminds me of Sorry to Bother You. You seen that movie? So for the people that haven't seen Sorry to Bother You, go check it out. Boots Riley, he from here, from the town. So check out the brother. But it was more so about like how the guy Lakeith Stanfield had to make his way through like this call center, but he had to change who he was. He had to change his voice, and they were like, "Oh, you sound like a white man, but sound like you have no care in the world, right?" So he had to go way into it. Then his girl stopped being able to really recognize him. Like, who are you? His friends stopped hanging with him. Then he goes to like the upper room, like this gold elevator brings him to like heaven, where he got the promotion and he got everything he wanted, but he was selling a piece of himself. And then they found out the company was actually like doing like transhumanism experiments on people and getting people to live at the company, getting people like your life is dedicated here. So if you leave here, you have nothing. We take care of everything for you. You know what I mean?
Yeah. So
it's kind of crazy.
It is, and you know, I've seen some of these like their campuses essentially where they provide breakfast, lunch, food, beverages, whatever you need, unlimited PTO, but your salary. So when does your job begin and end? You're supposed to be always producing.
Right.
So it's interesting, but I'm grateful for the experience because now I can share that, and I do think that, you know, there are really great companies that exist that are solving problems that we need.
For sure.
All the companies I worked at, I believed in the vision and the mission of the company, which was huge for me because if I'm working in sales or recruiting, I need to believe in what I'm selling. Otherwise, you know, God didn't build me that way to scam or lie. So I can't try to recruit somebody to a job that I myself don't like. But
Well, big ups to you, because a lot of people don't use their power and who they are and where they come from to open the door for other people. That's a lot of times people get where they need to go, they did their thing, and they not reaching back. So I think that's dope, because especially in the universal karmic cycle, what's going to happen to you for you next, or what already has, or what's presently going on with you in your life. And I feel like that's a good segment to say, yo, peace. I'm here with Anna, a dope artist from San Francisco, California. That's also in the tech field. That's also a practitioner of mental health. Do you do yoga?
I do
some yoga.
Try to do more yoga. I wouldn't say that I'm a yogi.
Okay.
I'm a learning.
She's a learning namaste. But all of that, like I said, artist, a curator, a founder of Frida People. You feel me? We're gonna get her to talk about a little bit about some of the journey. We just talked about tech. I just would segue into what I'm gonna ask next is basically about your journey of not working a 9 to 5. Fuck the man. How did that come? How's that going? What are you learning?
Yeah, so it came from, you know, as I mentioned, that last company and kind of building the company up, and then having the rug pulled from under my feet for them to promote a woman with a job unrelated. And that was eye-opening for me, and kind of the last straw. Yeah. Is that draw or straw?
Draw, whatever.
Remix.
You feel me?
I'm the queen of malaprops. So, you know, I always get my Anyways, we're getting off track, ladies and gentlemen.
That's what we do here. We get off track, but eventually we go to the next station and we get right back on the train.
Okay, I feel bad. I'm like, oh, you're gonna have to do more editing. We don't want that.
This is all inclusive.
Oh, so weird.
Yeah, man.
Oh man. But yeah, after that was in 2019, and so pretty much after that, I was like, I'm done. Yeah. I had decided at the time that I was going to take like a 6-month sabbatical and just like travel and just go on my Eat, Pray, Love journey, take, you know, some of that money I made in tech, you know, And I did.
Like,
I haven't even been looking at the camera this time, so like,
That's good.
like I don't know. Yeah.
but yeah, it definitely was to kind of hijack the people's spirit and do what they want to do.
Yeah, I mean, I think we all have our personal opinions on
Mhm.
that time.
Mm-hmm.
Me personally, I was really against what was happening, especially in terms of like, these mandated like vaccines for
Sure.
something that hadn't even really fully been
Facts.
developed, and that didn't make any sense to me.
Yeah.
How entire cities shut down and completely isolated and separated people from their family. And I do feel that I am a speaker of truth and standing up against, the man and some of these systems that I feel are designed to keep us small and break our spirits. And so I wanted to create a place to go against that, to bring people together. And so love Frida Kahlo.
Yeah.
So kind of made a play of words on her name, Frida People.
Mhm.
So, but spelled like Frida.
Mm-hmm.
And started Frida People, started on Zoom. And we had people from like New York, Atlanta, New Mexico, here in the Bay. And we were just online sharing. We had people walking us through their garden, B-boys, poets.
People from Morocco.
Yeah. And then when the world slowly started opening up, we was parking lot pimping at the Tribune Tower.
Come on now, you had it so dope. I remember like being outside, and it felt kind of like we was in Brooklyn or something on some artistic Renaissance type joint, and you had the screen on the wall while people was performing on a mic. I said, oh, this go crazy. This is dope. What gave you that idea, or is it just something you've been thinking about?
It just came together because it started on Zoom, and we had people that were from all over, and I wanted to bring them into, my world here in Oakland. Yeah. And so I was like, how do we bring the two worlds together? Because we're all, and that's what's so beautiful about the technology when you think like not all technology is bad, right? So here, somebody could be 3 hours ahead in New York, but we're connecting with them. And they're across the world in Morocco or wherever, we can all be together at one time and space through Zoom. Yeah. And so we had that 2-camera setup where the folks on Zoom could see us live in Oakland, and then we had everybody on Zoom broadcasted on the building, and we could see them, and they were performing, and it was just a crazy dynamic that came together and was a lot of work. Yeah. To be honest. Yeah. And now that was 5 years ago, which is crazy.
Wow, half a decade?
What?
It still seems like we coming out of that time. But
oh my goodness.
Big respect to all the artists out here, because it was a decline in like especially the poetry community. I don't know about other things, but I expect it to be the same thing because it was in person. But big ups to just keeping that culture, keeping that vibe up, because that's what we needed. Like being in the house nobody wanted to be in the house. Right, and that was, and actually that was another part of it was so many people got let go from their jobs because of this COVID shutdown. The world stopped, and people who'd been out there too. If you didn't want to take the shot, I refuse to take that motherfucker. You feel me? Yeah. But people that were at companies for years seeing their company show their real ass. And that forced people to have to get creative and start baking and selling cupcakes or hustle. They had to hustle. PPP. But me, I felt like that was a really good time where people all of a sudden went from that grind 9 to 5 to now being home and having all this time where they were tapping into how to make sourdough painting. Like they started tapping into that creative side, and I believe we're all born creators from the Creator, and they don't want us to know that when we really follow that light, the abundance is, the harvest is plentiful. It's plentiful, and that's the crazy part about it. We are approaching maybe 8 billion people on this planet, and the Most High don't make no mistakes. Whatever y'all believe in, I don't believe the Most High make mistakes. It says, you want to take it to scripture, sometimes I do it. I just do it to talk about what I'm talking about. God created the birds, and God told the birds, you don't have to worry about where you're going to get your next meal.
Mm-hmm.
But yet we have a conglomerate of people that controls the wealth gaps and tells you if you can eat or you can't eat. With all this food out here, with all this land out here, most of this land is uninhabited. But we live it on top of each other. Empty buildings, empty lots.
Buildings.
Yeah.
It's unacceptable.
Mm-hmm.
So, I think it's up to us as creators and artists, because a lot of us are the, joyous, rebellious ones that to believe in that better world. And so Free the People was really like free the people by like free the mind, free the voice, free that part of yourself, because the more we come, they don't want us to be in community, to be in tune with those parts of ourselves, because they want us to work for them and sell our souls and just take the comfy paycheck and be so tired at the end of the day that you don't have time to feed into what lights your soul. And then what happens when you don't feed that? Then you kind of burn out, and all this shit can get real deep, but that's where Free the People really stemmed, was to like ignite that in people again, ignite that fire, because I feel like our artists and creators are so imperative to like music. Look at music. How many of us love music for how it uplifts? And so, just we're all creators. And I think if all of us were really walking in our power, the world would be a better place.
Yeah. And that's why it's dope, is because you are giving people the space to initiate their power.
Yes.
And people just, I've met people at your events where we work together and we, developed a artistic relationship, and there's many things like that just came from the power of it.
Yeah.
So
that's where we're at now, almost 5 years later. So have been doing more community. So went from really like tech to consulting, and I still work with companies as a consultant, but on my schedule and what aligns with me. And I got into like teaching and working different programs, teaching like mindfulness, working in after school programs, working with the youth. And
you're like a Renaissance person.
I'm a jack of, or a Jill of all trades.
I like that wherever you call, you serve.
I feel like that is my purpose. I'm here to serve, and it's everyday. Now in my 4th decade, and I feel like I have a lot of experience that I have come across in my life up to this point, and I feel like I'm just now starting to figure it out and walk in my purpose, where I'm like, okay, I know that God did not, the Creator didn't put me through all this for nothing. It's slowly coming together, and that's why spaces like this to talk with other creatives and share our stories is like super inspiring, because it takes a village. Like I wholeheartedly believe that, because for me, community has always been my chosen family. So because a lot of us don't have that support, and so for me, it's like essential to create community. Not only for me, but like for others as well on the journey. So
How's your mental health journey going, and how's it going helping other people facilitate that work?
It's mental health, I feel like has become more mainstream, which is great. I feel like it's an everyday struggle to be aware of our thoughts and our feelings. Shout out to women, because monthly I see how my feelings can fluctuate. I'll be like all emotional and crying and like, fuck this shit. And the next day, my friend arrives and I'm like, oh, okay, I'm not crazy. I'm just a woman. Shout out to hormones. But and it's crazy, because it does play a part in mental health and depression, and, when those like levels drop, but the more awareness we have. So I did grow up with some pretty complex situations that gave me complex PTSD, and so I, have spent,
Do you have
years in
anxiety?
therapy. I do, definitely. Yeah,
Okay.
definitely have anxiety,
Okay.
and
I think everybody do to a
yeah,
certain extent. It's
Yeah.
just how it's displayed, right?
yeah, I'm an overthinker,
Mhm.
people pleaser,
Come on.
I have certain things that I struggle with, but I've always been able to like find the silver lining in situations, and no matter what hardships have been thrown my way, like been able to like find the good in it. So it's like I don't stay down for long. I'm able to bounce back quick, which I'm
Yeah.
grateful for. But it's been a journey. So I think I spent a lot of years in therapy, understanding more about myself and finding different modalities to actually help me cope on a day-to-day basis, and it's a everyday thing to show up and be aware of. And I had to take a break from doing Frida People at one point because it was a monthly event. I was pretty much the only person behind the scenes like doing
I get it, yeah.
and definitely got to a point where I was like realized I was pouring from an empty cup.
Right.
Like I gotta fill my cup before I can like really serve and
Yeah.
show up in these spaces. And so kind of have been on a little bit of a hiatus for the past like couple years at least.
Yeah.
2023
Yeah.
probably, I think what I did an event, a few like writers workshops, but hosting like a live open mic or lineup show artist showcase. It's been so I really took the last couple years, breast cancer, my mom, life, all those things, and yeah, it's been a deep healing journey, and I feel like as a woman in her early 40s, I feel like the healing will continue probably until I'm an old lady.
Is there anything like in terms of like a lesson or in terms of a reminder that stands out to you in your journey so far, of just being recognized, the awareness of being mentally healthy, spiritually healthy, that you remind yourself every day?
Yeah, I mean, I think the first thing that comes to mind that's always been a mantra of mine from probably like early stages of life is like tough times don't last, the tough people do. So I think that has always helped me remember that like no matter what I'm going through, that I will get through, and that it's all, even though sometimes it's like, why God, why me, why? But knowing that this too shall pass, and just keeping that faith. I feel like faith has been such a huge part of my journey, and just knowing that I guess that the cloth that I have been cut from, chosen ones, we out here. I don't know. What is it? Somebody told me they thought I looked younger, and they're like, "Oh, that's the chosen ones thing. Like, you don't look like what you've been through."
I thought you were significantly younger.
Thanks, brother.
Yeah. But that's great because your spirit has a lot to do with that. It's not just your physical appearance; it's a light that radiates from people. There's a positive energy that radiates that allows people to have a youthful soul.
Because we got it, the old soul, but the youthful soul, because of the purpose for, God's work to be able to do that. We're just getting started now in our fourth decade, so you got time.
You never know.
Never too old.
Too old.
Yeah, never too old, never too young. I think we're always exactly where we need to be, which is another thing that I would say has helped me on the journey, is like truly trusting the process and knowing that like I'm always where I need to be. And and I think the more that you actually like show up and like put in just a little bit, then the more that things start to align as well.
That showing up is just so important, because nothing that ever happens when you don't face anything.
Mhm.
When you don't face the day, when you don't get out of bed, when you don't do X, Y,
Yeah,
and Z.
you use,
Yeah.
and that's
It's a
part
matter
of
of
the
being.
system too. They want to just be on our phones,
Yep.
scrolling. Back in the day, it was being on the TV.
Yeah.
So we have to be really aware of these distractions and
Yeah.
making sure that we meet in person and have these conversations and keeping it humane.
Yeah. And that's why I do the Say Your Piece podcast, because it's a digital space for you all to tell your story. People probably didn't know that about you, or just giving space. And another thing is creating intentional space. Like I know y'all through passing, we talk, woo. I can call you. I remember one time I had a poem I wanted to share with you, and you was like, call me. I called you, and we shared and we talked about it and stuff like that. But just creating those intentional spaces to know each other. You know what I mean? Because we're getting away from that, because we think we know people by the picture that they post or by the quote that they post. You don't know these people like that. That's just a small fragment until you get down, sit down, talk to them.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? Feel vibe.
Yeah. No, it's so true. And I think at the end of the day, just like really having space, we need more spaces where people can come and share and connect. I feel like that's that tribe mentality, so definitely tied to like my indigenous roots of like that, all like we should be helping and each other and providing those safe spaces. So saw you're doing like First Friday events now too, and there was another one you were doing before too. That was the Say Your Piece.
Oh yeah, that was Say Your Piece. The event that was in Hayward. That was an open mic, and now I'm doing just First Friday's open mic with the best DJ, DJ Igor. Man, shout out DJ Igor, that's my brother. We do it at the Space Lounge, and for anybody to come out there and spit, I get a lot of musicians, which is great, is because I'm used to poets, and the musicians allow a difference because it's a different vibe. They rock stars, you know what I mean? Go in there and rock out with them.
Yeah, I love it. Yeah, that was what I love with Frida People, was I really wanted to have an open mic that was like not just poets and it was just that variety of like artists and creatives. Yeah. That's dope.
Yeah, but like doing events is great. Do you have like a philosophy on how you curate events, or is it kind of just like, well, I'm gonna put this person here, put this person here, however the lineup goes?
No, I would say everything with intention for sure. Yeah, so like when I was doing monthly Frida People events, like I would intentionally reach out to artists or people that I saw, which I started it on Instagram, and then I started reaching out to people on Instagram, or maybe I met them at in-person events, and I liked and respected what they did, and was like, okay, this is a good representation of like the space I'm trying to create, which is like community, diverse, like along the lines of like free the people, so like speaking truth to power, and so I would like really intentionally try to find like, because Frida People was more, we had like open mic space, but it was more of an artist showcase where I would reach out to artists in advance and let them know they would have 5 to 7 minutes and set times. So then I would have like 5 artists, and I would make it so that it was like music, storytelling, painter, like that variety kind of. And then, doing this event after a little hiatus next month that I'm going to be doing at, little plug, y'all, but we're taking it from the town to the city.
Okay.
Our first event in the city, and funny enough, we're gonna be in the financial district of the tech world that I used to work off Montgomery Street, right off by Montgomery BART station, like a block away.
For sure.
And we're gonna be at KALW, which is public radio station.
Yeah, I heard of it.
Yeah, and so we're gonna be there Friday, August 15th from 7 to 9, and for the first time, we're actually doing like, we've had themes in the past with Frida People where it was like Black History Month, and it was like all Black artists, or Women's Month, and we had all women, but we've never really had like a theme per se, like it's the Frida People is the theme, right? But we're partnering with KALW, and they were kind of talking about a theme especially with the current state of affairs in the world, and like creating an intentional space where we can hopefully leave people feeling better than when they arrive. As Mother Teresa or somebody used to say. But so yeah, we're doing an event just announced a couple days ago called Polarities. Rooted and rising. And so rooted and rising in itself is a polarity.
Yeah, it is.
And so
because rooted but rising makes me think of trees, makes me think of like branches. And
our roots of like where we come from, the ancestral trauma that we carry, the past versions of ourselves that we're letting go, while also rising into the next version of ourselves, and like breaking the generational ancestral trauma. So like, you know, the becoming, you know, so honoring our past while also looking at the possibility of our future, joy and grief. You know, we live in a world of yin and yang, and I think that's also really critical for us to remember right now, because it's like there's so much negativity happening in the world that people are like, how am I supposed to just post content or post my joy when families are being torn apart? And
do you think two negatives can be a positive?
Yeah, I think so.
In what sense? How would you say?
I don't know. I just feel like if a positive can still exist with two negatives, that's all it takes. Because that positive can have a ripple effect to create more positive.
Right.
I mean, if we're going 2 against 1, you know, that positivity might have a little harder time having a fight. But I think that's all it takes is that one, which is why it's so important for each of us to like show up and share our authentic selves. You know, again, not getting too deep, but I feel like we are chosen. We are, none of us are here at this moment in time by accident. You know, we are all here with a purpose, and some of us have a purpose to do good in the world, and to break some of these cycles, and some of us unfortunately are
to do negative.
And just like, you know, dawn you know comes, and day and night, like it's part of the cycles. And I think once we become more aware of like knowing that everything is cyclical like that, it's all part of the bigger purpose. But if we lose sight and just be like, oh, it's all negative, and we give up, then what wins? The negative wins. So it's really up to each of us to tend to our hearts, to tend to our gardens, to you know, honor that each of us is having a human difference, whether you're husband, wife, brother, sister, mom, dad. If you have children that maybe might test you, and like literally each of us are our own different people. So all we can do is really show up as our best selves, and like protecting that light for those of us that choose to walk in that you know, that light. Because unfortunately, you know, there's just some people that are completely like oblivious and checked out, and maybe find it woo-woo, or they're not conscious at all. They're running on autopilot. And that the 9 to 5, as some of us we do, because they want that security. We're like, I don't want to. That's stupid, you know. So for the shout out to the people that are doing the work, though, the shadow work, the inner work, the healing work. I think that, you know, we're meant to live in abundance, and heaven is here on earth. So
say that, because people, you know, they want you to believe like you gotta die to get everything you want. Well, I haven't died. I don't know what's on the other side. I'm pretty sure with, you know, the things that I've done in my life, it's gonna be some good. But I'm living here right now for the present, and I want to see some great things happen. And you feel me? And there are great things happening. There's great things happening all around you at a time, but we don't look at the small things and give thanks and give gratitude for, you know, being able to have a sunny day, or being able to have a cloudy day with rain, because that rain is going to do something for the earth. You know, it's going to wash away some stuff.
And all clouds don't hold rain.
Come on now.
So
come on now.
You know.
Yeah. It's deep. I love the conversation on the yin and the yang, because it's like as artists, sometimes we always talk about vibrating high and vibrating. Sometimes we be vibrating low.
I believe that love is an uncontrollable force. It's a silent killer that shows